Good morning, beautiful people. It is Tuesday, May 19th. Massive day. Today is a day where two states that we thought were going to be closed indefinitely have come out and said, hey, pro sports can happen in our states if you want to let it happen without an audience. California says you can play here. New York says you can play here. Florida says you can play here. Arizona says you can play here. Texas says you can play here. It feels as if professional sports, most notably the NFL, is going to go off maybe without fans, but without a hitch. It feels like MLB is going to happen without fans. It feels like the NBA is going to happen without fans. And we know this weekend that golf is going to happen with Tiger and Phil and Peyton and Tom. Just like last weekend when there was NASCAR. Hey, them cars going fast round there, down there, and then hey, look out for Kevin Harvick up there, and the lead has got really nobody on his tail. Coming in 3 wide to fight for fourth. What do we got here? A little bit of a scrum going into turn one, and touchdown! Couple different sports. You get it. Sports are back. Here we go. Tuesday, May 19th. We've waited 60-some days for this moment. It feels as if we can definitely say sports are going to come back. Maybe without fans, and that's okay. Some sports will be able to survive just as good without fans as they did with fans. For instance, NASCAR was great without fans because the action's happening on the track and in pit lane?
Yes, nailed it.
Yep. Nailed it. Big racing guy. UFC, good without fans. Actually, I think almost, I don't want to say it because I know it's probably a massive piece of their income, and I understand it's probably an electric event. It's almost better without fans, actually, because you get a chance to really hear the son of a bitch! Almost lost the chair. I think NFL football will be okay without fans. I think MLB baseball, which is normally without fans, will be good without fans. I think the NBA tournament style will be good without fans. I think we're at a spot where, now granted, we as fans, we love live events. We want to get back in there. But I think the quality of the game is going to be good. I think soccer kind of struggled from it a little bit. I think golf struggled from it a little bit. But I think we're getting back to a point where we can say things are coming back exponentially. Big Ben shaved his beard, saying he's throwing balls again in the NFL caliber. Are the Steelers next year's favorite to win the AFC North? If Ben Roethlisberger can come back with Rookie of the Year arm like Gardenhoser and throw even better. Frank Reich thinks that Phillip Rivers will stay longer than a year. There's potential advertising on tarps and empty stadiums. LeBron was almost a Dallas Cowboy during the NBA lockout. We got a lot to chat about. We'll talk to Andrew Brandt, who formerly worked with Michael Jordan's agent, David Falk, at a tennis agency, which then pivoted into a basketball agency, which then he ran a World League team. Then he came back. He represented Adam Vinatieri. Then he was a Green Bay Packers executive. Now he's an executive for Vayner Sports. He writes for MMQB, Monday Morning Quarterback. He also does podcasts.
He's got a podcast.
And he does not follow me on Twitter.
What?
Does not follow me on Twitter. I'm only like 14 times bigger than him. He does not follow me on Twitter. I have followed him since our first conversation. We will have beef about that. But I want to talk to him about the business of football. For instance, if there are no fans, and Adam Schefter reported that the salary cap could go down 30 to 80 million. What does that mean for all these contracts, Andrew? You don't follow me on Twitter. I put out some good stuff. I follow you. You're a smart guy. Let's talk about it. In the second hour, Trey Turner, formerly of the Carolina Panthers, has made 5 straight Pro Bowls. Now he's playing for the Chargers, was traded away as soon as Matt Rule got here. The Chargers bring in a great offensive lineman immediately upon Phillip Rivers' departure. Phillip Rivers probably hates the Chargers for that, but I feel like the Chargers won this deal. We'll talk to Trey Turner in the second hour. Your phone call is 1-833-622-3331. YouTube questions and comments. Let's have a damn day. Joining me at Nick Moraldo is wearing an incredible Sidney Crosby goat long sleeve. The NHL, are they coming back?
They are coming back.
What?
We've never talked about that.
When are they coming back?
Still trying to figure it out, but 24-team tournament to decide who gets into the playoffs. Then they'll do some type of playoff format, maybe modified. We'll see. All the details aren't out yet.
So it's going to be like March Madness on ice.
Ooh. That's the plan currently.
What's that, the Frozen Four?
Yeah.
That's the college plan, right? They're going to do it with the NHL guys, and then what, just pivot right into the next season?
I would assume they would delay the next season a little bit because if they do a true playoff format, it's going to run until, probably August.
So we should be excited about the NHL having that type of thing. On the other side of this, we said when we initially got into this, Okay, we said what's preparing to be on the other side, because this is when March Madness wasn't canceled, it was potentially postponed. And the NBA was postponed. And the MLB was postponed. And the Masters was postponed. And all these things. We're like, okay, as soon as this quarantine from COVID-19 is done, we got a stacked lineup that'll carry us through the summer, right into fall, and then bang, we're off into spring. We're like pumped for it. Now, obviously, everything's getting close. It's all going to be stacked on top of each other. But it feels like there's going to be some real electricity for sports on the other side of this. Much like Dana White and UFC is putting in all the fights he can each week, I feel like sports are going to be like that. I think it's going to be a Monday night, and the NHL is going to be like, oh, bitch, we got a first-round knockout. And the NBA's like, wait a minute. Braun sitting in the crowd watching Kawhi and James Harden go after. It's like, well, what do I want to do? And then obviously there's Monday Night Football. Who's in the booth? Nobody knows. And there's obviously Monday Night Raw, which is still going. And that's just a Monday. And then we wake up Tuesday, we got MLB, NBA, NHL. Here we go. Maybe the golfers get involved. I mean, on the other side of this, it's really starting to tickle me right where my balls are. This feels like this is going to be a good lineup for sports fans. At Tone Diggs is here. You feel good about Ben Roethlisberger shaving his beard and cutting his hair and saying he's back?
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. I mean, he was throwing seeds like I've never seen the man throw before.
That's not true. There was...
What do you mean?
He was not throwing better balls.
He was throwing absolute howitzers.
Oh, jeez. I like that, pal. Little missiles out there. Ben Roethlisberger looks like he's in better shape than he's ever been at this particular time. His body is his body. I mean, there's nothing he can do about it. It's not like he's going to be built like an Instagram model or whatever, but it does feel as if this is a big get-back year for Ben Roethlisberger. The Steelers aren't bringing any notable backup quarterbacks in. Ben, this is your team. Last year was a fluke. We still almost made the playoffs. Let's go get back to it. Juju's on a contract year, so let's expect Smith-Schuster to go for it. James Conner, I believe he's on a contract year as well. And Ryan Switzer's still over there making big-time plays.
Yeah, he is. I like the guy.
At Tone Diggs is here, or at Ty Schmidt is here. Jason McAfee's here. Viva Lazito's here, looking fantastic. Evan Foxy's here, and on the phone 23-362-2331, Boston Connor.
How we doing today, Pat?
I'll tell you what, I watch a lot of live PD, and the Masshole ones and the Rhode Island ones are the best because their accents, every single give and take is awesome. Who are you, a state trooper here?
I'm actually part of the Vermont Highway Patrol up there.
Oh, okay. You drink syrup and all that
A
stuff?
lot of syrup. Oh, yeah, I love the syrup.
What's your name?
Ed.
What's on the sign back here?
Hey, Lawrence, no more reading. Time for rock. Dewey Finn. School of Rock. We watched it last night. Unbelievable movie. Still holds up.
Such a good movie.
Oh, my God.
What? It made it to Broadway.
We are sick. We're 7 minutes into this thing. We are not having School of Rock references on this show. You hear me? Not on this show.
Not on this?
No, you guys want to do some terrible show and reference School of Rock or whatever the hell it is, you can do that.
It's Jack Black. We're talking about Jack Black.
Erase the board.
My Jack Black is what the whenever he's Shallow Hal. That's my Jack Black.
Great Jack Black.
Yeah, that's my
When he
Jack
breaks
Black.
the undies out and they're really big.
Yeah. Just beer goggles, right? That's that whole movie, which I appreciate and respect. That Jack Black was doing it out there. He's also, by the way, this is... I used to be a Tenacious D guy.
Oh, yeah.
Jack Black used to be a legend.
Fiddler.
Because it's the pair.
But I've never seen School of Rock, so we won't talk about it. LeBron James allegedly was training to play in the NFL whenever the NBA had its lockout in 2011. He said last night on his uninterrupted YouTube stream that, which, by the way, very intriguing conversation. He was talking about how the first time he got a chance to see Michael Jordan was in a pickup game in Chicago. He was there with Maverick and a couple others, his friends. He said he was sitting on the bench for like an hour and a half until one of the older players was like, hey, you want to play? He was 16. He was running with Michael Jordan, saw him in the gym, went back home, told his friends basically like, hey, I met Black Jesus. That's how he's always viewed Michael Jordan. So I think the whole narrative of is Michael Jordan or LeBron James better, I think just like Kobe Bryant, LeBron does not like being a part of that conversation, I do not think. Now, granted, he has said on the barbershop that he's the greatest player of all time, and I think he's allowed to think that at this point, but I think the way he talked about Michael Jordan in that thing was very interesting, which leads to what a lot of other people are thinking, which is we just saw a documentary about Michael Jordan potentially going on to be a professional baseball player and being very good at it. Now LeBron's telling a story about being a professional football player and making it in the NFL, and Jerry Jones and the Cowboys allegedly making him an actual contract offer, and that's the way a hater would view view this, okay? That's how Nick Maraldo would view this. That's how a hater of LeBron James, who I assume there are plenty, would say, hey, the only reason Bron's saying this is because we just saw that Michael Jordan was going to be a professional baseball player and a damn good one at that. Now he's saying he's going to be in the NFL. Maybe he actually was. Maybe LeBron, who only played 2 full seasons in high school, okay? Sophomore, junior year. Had 23 touchdowns. Does that sound familiar? How about his first time starting? His freshman year was in the playoffs where he broke a school record in the playoffs. Wow. He took off his senior year because he wanted to focus on making all the monies playing basketball. But this dude was electric on the football field in high school. He's 6'9", 270 pounds, just absolutely scoring. Look at that agility. With the, look at the route, a little slow, not running up and down at all. Looks very casual. And look, it took 2 guys to tackle him. That means if one person has 2 guys on him, what's that mean? Somebody else is open.
Yep.
Okay, so he's a great distraction. He's a great athlete. He has the size. He has the speed. Could he take a shot? We have no idea. If, maybe Earl Thomas, who is having a good time with his quarantine, comes up over the top on a deep ball, and we have no clue. But who doesn't say that LeBron James is potentially a Costco Randy Moss? Who's to say? Who's to say that he wouldn't have been? Now, granted, 2011, who's that? Tony Romo slinging a rock? You don't think old Uncle Tony playing quarterback like it's a backyard football game wouldn't have been able to scramble for his life and find Braun deep down the sideline? LeBron's probably all pro first year, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
What's that?
A little bit more like Thaddeus Moss, I think.
Tony Romo?
Thaddeus does not deserve that.
You're talking about Tony Romo?
LeBron. You think LeBron's playing wide out at 270?
Yeah, he's playing. And by the way,
absolutely.
if they put him at tight end, it's like, okay, listen, we know what we got here. This guy, maybe he does have the athletic ability and dexterity to to set his feet if he has to. His tight end. Wow. You don't know. And then run a route, obviously, down the center. And at that point, had they changed football enough that he couldn't get killed over the middle? No, 2011, he could still die. He would have played wide receiver. He would not have been over the middle. They wouldn't have put him out there. But I don't think Bron's saying this strictly because the Jordan baseball talk. Because, when everybody was talking about me playing in the MLS, whenever I went and worked out with the Columbus Crew, whenever the lockout was potentially happening, LeBron could have came out then.
True.
And when I was starting right field for a baseball team, LeBron could have came out then if he was just looking to steal clout or whatever. Anybody who's saying he's only saying this because Michael Jordan was potentially a good baseball player is a hater and should not be listened to.
I agree. In 2013, I found LeBron said he runs a 4.6. Jason Witten was the leading receiver on that team. A hell of a 2 tight end set. Let Jason worry about the blocking.
If you listen to Martellus Bennett, that's tight end Bennett, right? Yeah, Michael.
Yeah, Michael's the DN. Yeah, Martell's the tight end.
Yeah, so you listen to Martellus tell the story. It was like when he was at the Cowboys, Witten would sub himself out whenever it was a blocking position. Young, I got to learn. I'd like to catch a ball too every once in a while, but Witten knew the game. Witten understood the game. Get LeBron in there though. Let's go.
LeBron didn't bring this convo up, by the way.
No.
It was Doc Rivers.
Yeah, and also, the other person asked him about it in the interview. What do you want LeBron to do?
He's got to answer it.
He's got a good beard going on right now.
Jerry offered him a contract. He must have been pretty good.
Still got it framed in his office.
Yeah,
Jerry Jones is a talent evaluator. That is what Jerry Jones. And my hands don't get cramps writing letters to NBA players to play wide receiver. Okay, just want to let you know that.
If he did get offered a contract, how much money do you think he would have had to take to actually go play in the NFL?
So the business side of that is interesting because he's automatically going to become one of the top jersey sales, right? He knows that people are going to probably buy tickets for it. So the negotiation isn't about his talent level at that point. It's about what else he could potentially bring. He'll probably get a little bit more than a vet min, but then there'll probably be some sort of offer on the outside of it. Incentive if he plays and all that. Hey, I saw him take on Team KD in a flag football game. Guy had like 6 interceptions.
Played
He's
very
a ball
well
hawk.
that
Maybe he's on the defensive side, by the way. Imagine LeBron back there at free safety. 6'8". Are you kidding me, dude? I think he would have been good at football.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't think the transition is easy. I don't think every basketball player can play in the NFL. I don't think that is just because Antonio Gates has done it and Eric Swope has done it and other basketball players have been able to make the transition. I don't think it's a normal thing. Like I don't think a lot of guys taking those shots is a normal thing. I think Braun though has the body to be built like a stallion that he would have to be out there.
It's not too late. I mean, Russell Wilson's doing spring training. Let's get LeBron into the Cowboys facility for training camp.
Yeah,
By the way,
smart.
maybe get LeBron on the Yankees.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, that's an idea.
Now-
They need him.
Well,
Because he was with the Birmingham Barons, right? Michael Jordan in the White Sox organization. And no shade at the White Sox or whatever, but it's not the Yankees. Braun playing for the Yankees would be a little bit bigger. If that is what he was attempting to do, by the way, to the haters, Nick, if he was just trying to one-up Jordan,
Yeah.
he'd just go play for the Yankees.
Yeah.
That'd be, there we go. Hi, how's it going?
Beat 'em.
Welcome to that short porch would no longer be that because Braun will be playing.
Well, in the mid '90s, the MLB was still pretty big. Now it's taking a back seat to football. Football's the king now. So if you're gonna try and one up him, you got to go to the bigger league. And I think you
should go
try
NHL.
and claim that you're going to be
go to
some
NHL.
stud NFL wideout, even though you weigh 280 pounds.
Let's also remember. By the way, 280 pounds is a good place to be if you can run a 4.6 there.
Yeah.
Listen,
Perfect
that's
size.
where you want to be. Let's not underestimate the amount of talent he was probably playing against, too, in Ohio. Ohio
True.
is a
Some of the
football.
best.
A lot of people will say, well, I just watched 2 minutes of highlights. There's a bunch of little white kids he's playing. Well, what do you want him to do, okay? What do you want? And Ohio creates a bunch of little white kids that are good at football. Ever heard of A.J. Hawk? Ever heard of A.J. Hawk?
Rust Belt kind of guy.
AJ would have lowered his helmet right into LeBron's temple and knocked him out of that game.
Well, and Braun would have got up, threw the chalk, and walked right back into that huddle and say, hey, what do I need to do to help my team win? Because just like Windhorst said on ESPN this morning, Michael Jordan might be the greatest player of all time. LeBron, greatest teammate of all time. We got to get to a break. I mean, I'll tell you, I've never seen a more walk-off soundbite than that one.
He ate so much mayo after that comment.
Oh, my God, Zito.
see.
Listen,
BFS.
I'd like to let the YouTube people know that yesterday's body shaming did not go unnoticed. YouTube was body shaming me.
Really?
For what?
Yep. I just went. The comments were coming after my body yesterday for the baseball shot.
Really?
Yeah, they said I looked a little fat.
Come on,
A lot of people
guys.
said I looked fat.
Well, I'm sure they look great.
Well, no, they definitely don't. probably a bunch of stooges, but we appreciate it. Just know that you've ignited. Is this click clack?
Yeah, Twine with the remix. He threw the click clack in there.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Smart. Is it coming again? Anything?
I don't know.
Rick Ross there. I heard. Anyways, you've ignited something, all right? I'm starving myself
body.
now. Hope you're happy. Your revenge body on the comment section. 16 minutes after the hour, we got YouTube questions during the break at youtube.com/the Pat McAfee Show. This is Tuesday, May 19th. All right, here we go. Let's get to the phones. Let's go to Garrett in Massachusetts. What's up, Garrett?
Pat, how are we?
Not too shabby, pal. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. I got two questions. One is real quick. Tony and Nick, when did you guys first feel that Pat had a real shot at the NFL? And then the other question is, which ringless NFL franchise has the best 3-year window to win a Super Bowl?
Let's talk about ringless quarterbacks first.
97, by the way.
When I was 10 years old, Things used to drive by in that Hummer with his dad and saw me kicking a soccer ball on the side of the wall. Said, you know what? That son of a bitch is going somewhere.
That kid's got a chance.
Let's go with ringless quarterbacks playing quarterback for your team. Which team has the best chance moving forward? It's got to be either the Colts, right, with Phillip Rivers, or it's got to be the New England Patriots. Because they have a ringless quarterback playing for them.
True.
Okay, for the first time in a long time. But they have Bill Belichick who could potentially guide them through the waters of making it to a Super Bowl. So I think it's either the Colts or the Patriots who will be the next ringless quarterback team to win a Super Bowl.
No Lamar.
I wanted to get a shot at the Patriots. I didn't even mean what I said. Right
Shot
there.
at the Patriots.
Well, yeah, because they have literally Bill Belichick got on national television one like fucking plow with all of his Super Bowl rings when he was on the NFL 100 team or whatever. And it's like the thought is, how could I spin that into them being an inexperienced team? And it's like, well, they got an unproven quarterback.
Yeah.
What are they going to do? Will they be able to run and hide, or will they be able? Will people be scared whenever they go to New England anymore?
Should be.
What's that?
They should be.
Well, you got the Minutemen on the sideline there with the fucking with the
Muskets.
the musket thing. Yeah, I mean, you got to be scared up there. This is Tom's house.
Oh.
How's the Hulu commercial feel now at this point, though? I'm not going anywhere.
Oh, it's a shot.
You have no idea. You have no idea. I haven't even thought about putting on any of my Tom Brady stuff. Me and my father are still in a fight over Tom Brady.
I think the Colts have a real chance to win something. With that being said, the AFC has Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Bill Belichick.
Jarrett Stidham.
No, I don't even. That guy's probably not even going to be your quarterback at this point.
No, he's so good.
You have no idea if that's the case.
He's unbelievable.
Everybody we've talked to said he had a good personality. I
Great
don't think I
guy.
heard one person say he was going to throw.
Yeah.
That's big in the locker room.
That's
though.
big. But I think the Colts, if Phillip Rivers can figure out this offense and not throw med balls, I think we're in a good spot.
Only 7 teams have a quarterback with a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
And by
Well
the way,
said, Tony.
Sean Payton, well said, Tone. Sean Payton said every year only 10 teams really have a chance. I would assume if they have one of those quarterbacks, they're one of the 3 or 7. Who are the other 3 now is the question.
So we have Steelers, Bears, Pack, Saints, Bucks, Chiefs, and Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, Bears got Foles.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Very done.
God. Now, that's a fair competition, though, with Mitchell Trubisky.
That's right.
Fair.
Fair.
All right, we got 15 seconds till we're back on radio. Everybody take it easy, okay? Everybody fucking calm down.
Fuck.
Zito.
I've been holding out for like 2 months already.
Jesus Christ.
Can I say it again?
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here, 21 minutes after the hour. During the break, I'd assume that most shows kind of talk about what they're going to talk about coming up in the next segment. We don't do that, by the way. We just go on rants about different things. The question that was asked was, which ringless team will go on to win a ring in the next couple years or something of that nature? And we talked about which ringless quarterback is going to have the highest chance for success. I said Phillip Rivers with the Colts. I said whatever quarterback is starting for the Patriots because they don't have a ring, whoever's starting up there.
Jarrett Stidham.
And then the question was, we don't know if Jarrett Stidham's a starter or not. That has not been confirmed by anybody in the Patriots organization, from coach, GM, to any of the players. We have no idea if that's the case. A stooge wearing a state police hat with sunglasses inside says that's the case.
He is the future. He's going to score 70 touchdowns next season.
And if he doesn't do anything at all, it won't matter because you guys lost Tom Brady, but Bill Belichick's your coach, so you're still going to win games. But the AFC, Lamar Jackson. You think Lamar Jackson wins the Super Bowl in the next couple of years? That's the real question. Is Lamar Jackson, because his contract's going to be up in 2 years? They're going to be able to re-up him at that point. $200 million is probably going to be pretty normal for quarterbacks at that time. Whenever Patrick Mahomes, busts through the ceiling of what they think salary caps could be worth. Remember when the conversation was that the Patrick Mahomes is going to get re-upped this offseason? And then they looked at the salary cap and noticed that the Chiefs have like $24 or something like that to repay him. Lamar Jackson's going to probably have to He's going to have to go pretty deep in the playoffs for them to give him another $200 million. Oh, yeah. You think that's going to have to be the case? Or Lamar Jackson, let's say they have the same exact year they had last year, light the world on fire, lose in the divisional round. Does it again the next
So
year.
at that point, he's 0-3 in the playoffs.
What are people going to say? Now, granted, Lamar Jackson,
know what I'll say.
he has been able to stay healthy somehow, which nobody thought he would be able to do. He's been making professional athletes look like junior varsity athletes. But if he doesn't win playoff games, will they break off the big check for him if he's just as explosive, elusive, and electric as he is right now? Will they say, well, we don't know if he'll be able to win the playoffs or not? Will the Ravens, who've gone all in for Lamar Jackson, say, hey, here's your cash? I think they're going to win, by the way. I think at some point, point he's going to get over. Now, granted, we're only, 2 playoff games into this kid's career. And he happened to run into a Titans team that was getting very hot. But I will be interested to see how much success Lamar Jackson has, because that is a big indicator for what people will do with their offenses going forward. If Lamar Jackson has real success going forward, you'll see every other offense trying to get on. Now, Kyler Murray in Arizona, they're going to try to do the same thing. I would assume Russell Wilson's going to start moving a little bit more because he has the ability to do so. They say Air Bear's athletic. I'll be excited to see, because if Lamar proves that he can win in the playoffs and win the big one, which getting through the Chiefs is going to be difficult for the next 10 years probably, it feels like. At least. If he's able to do that, that's where the offense will go in the NFL. Until then, you probably have some people who are still like, it won't work whenever you need it to. Won't be good in January, February. Won't work. And until he does that, that's going to be a big indicator for football of the future. So I'm here for it.
Lamar's got 2 more seasons pretty much before they have to extend him during that 5th year or whatever. If they win double digits both seasons, I assume he's going to get paid no matter what they do in the playoffs.
They would have to. But the thing will come up, right? Well, how long is Lamar Jackson going to be Lamar Jackson? How long is he going to be able to stay healthy? How long is he going to be able to make people look like Zito's out there on a field? You know what I mean? How long is he going to be able to do that? And that's going to be – everybody loves Lamar in Baltimore. They went all in on him. I'll be intrigued to hear how they talk about him whenever it's negotiation time and he's just won, 2 MVPs or whatever, and they haven't won a Super Bowl yet, what the conversation will be. I'm pretty pumped up for that.
Do you think with Big Ben coming back full strength this year, or supposedly full strength,
Stronger than ever.
Yeah, stronger than ever.
You know those pitchers when they come back from Tommy on, what are they pitching? 2-3 mile an hour faster on their fastball.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Does that give him kind of not an excuse, but if the Steelers go out and win the division this year, will that be they expected to do that because Big Ben was back?
Ben Roethlisberger gets no respect.
No respect.
None.
He gets no respect. And it's because of how he acts off the field, right? I mean, granted, I think he's tried to change that. He's doing golf. He's got family. He's got prayer time and all that stuff. I understand that. But off the field, a lot of people have a tendency to feel rubbed the wrong way by Ben Roethlisberger. And, it's from his local media hits, things that happen in his deep past. But whenever he's on the field, Ben Roethlisberger is unbelievable. He puts up numbers like everybody else. He's won Super Bowls. He's just never talked about as one of those elite guys because of what he does off the field. So I'm not 100% sure if Lamar Jackson feels as if okay, if the Steelers win, it's okay. Because I don't think anybody respects Ben Roethlisberger enough to understand that when he comes back, he's a player, and that team last year almost won strictly from their defense. I mean, it's just, they got Minkah Fitzpatrick in that trade. The AFC North is going to be a dogfight out there. It's going to be a cockfight out there. It's going to be a battle. You're going to have to keep your head on a swivel if you're in the AFC North, especially if you're the Browns, who are supposed to be the most talented team in there. What about young Joe Burrow, Tiger King going nuts? They got Lamar and old Big Ben's back was shaving his beard and throwing the ball around. I mean, AFC North could potentially be a problem. Dix is getting goosebumps.
I really am. I'm so excited. I can't wait.
It's happening, by the way. It's happening, by the way.
It's happening.
The NFL is happening.
1,000%.
That's got to feel so damn good just to think about that. That feels so good right now. We got to take another break for radio. We'll be live on YouTube during the break. We got to call Andrew Brandt on the other side. We'll talk to him about the business of the football coming back. $30 to $80 million salary cap hit, they said, if there's no fans in the stands. Damn. No fans in the stands. Damn, man. But paying in the bank. Nah, couldn't get going. Tried my best, just couldn't find it. Sometimes things like that are going to happen. We'll talk to him about that and all things happening in the business of sport. From Vayner Sports, Gary V's sports agency. We'll have a cup of tea with Andrew Brandt. This is the Pat McAfee Show. There's a grown man with face paint on. So you're Big Nut.
I am, and you're Little Nut.
Well, I've had a few of those in my life. Hey, I'll tell you what, Big Nut. I hope to find you one day on my wedding night. Big Nut!
Little Nut!
You did a great job, too. The lines are straight. No DUI problem there. You're really doing a great job here, sir. Hey, Big Nut, I love everything you're about, bud.
Because we are going to win the game.
He just spit in my mouth while saying that. The most likely team to make the college football playoff is the team that is in Columbus. He said khakis are way too close to that team from up north. If you don't put black pants on right now, you're going to get booed out of Columbus. So I went with the black. Makes me look thin. And whenever I say 2 letters, the place goes crazy. O-H! Yeah! Ladies and gentlemen, Eddie George. That offense, though, led by Justin Fields. He has 41 touchdowns accounted for, only 1 turnover. I don't know how he isn't the Heisman favorite right now.
Well, he certainly has a chance to make a stick at that today, certainly next week.
He's supposed to be in Penn State native Lions. And Mike McQueary told me I wasn't Penn State material. Okay, Herbie was your quarterback. He was a senior. You were a freshman. What was he like as a teammate?
Oh, he was great, man. Big shoulder pads. Kurt could run for days back in the day.
We have a guy that can break every single bone in my body. Steve, how you doing, boss man? They're down 6-1. She wants to flex on the gram. He says, lady, we are getting slaughtered by the Pittsburgh Penguins. No.
Do I do a chair? I thought I need to do this.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here. Tuesday, May 19th, 2020. The New York governor has said, hey, pro sports should be looking to proceed without fans in our state. California said the same thing. Florida said the same thing. Texas, Georgia, Nevada, you name it. There are places saying sports are good to go here. Let's just figure out how to do it without fans. What will be the economic damage to the teams if there's no fans in the stands? Who should we talk to about that? The man who hosts the Business of Sports podcast, formerly an executive for the Green Bay Packers, formerly an agent alongside Michael Jordan's agent. The man's been there, done that with everything. He just doesn't follow me on Twitter, Andrew Brandt.
Hey Pat, I thought I changed that.
No, I just checked because I thought maybe you changed it today. I wanted to check it out to see if you did it, and now I still have to hate you a little bit. I mean, it's just how it has to.
I guess I just follow the show, not you. You may have two Twitters, unlike me.
No, I only got one, but listen, now is not the time nor the place for me to hate you. I want to talk to you because your big brain is very, very knowledgeable in this particular world. Okay, so Schefter said that if the NFL was to go off without fans, the expectation for the loss would be $30 to $80 million hit to the salary cap. What the hell does that mean? Would they prorate everybody's contract so they have to renegotiate with the NFLPA? How do you think the economic future of the NFL with no fans in the stands for a season would affect everything and everybody?
Yeah, we're getting a little bit of a preview of this, Pat, with baseball, because right now they're talking about all the testing and tracing and all the treatment that has to happen in baseball. That's the easy part. The hard part is getting the player concessions they're trying to do with the MLB and the MLBPA. And as you've been reading, that's a problem right now. We don't even know if we're going to have baseball, not because of health issues, because of the money, and we've seen the comments from players about that. We're going to see some of that in the NFL. Now, the NFL and NFLPA just did this 11-year CBA, and I'm sure they all thought, okay, we wanted to deal with these people for a long time, probably like 10 years. But here we are. They got to get back to it, because here's the problem. We're going to see a diminution of revenues coming up. It's going to be due to no fans in the seats. It's going to be the lack of sponsor activation for game day, no parking, no concessions, merchandise. People don't realize how many revenues are wrapped up in game day. And without fans, you're not going to have any of that, including suite sales and premium seating and everything else. The question, how much of total revenues is that for the NFL? Before I answer, I think it's a lot less percentage than baseball, basketball, hockey, because NFL has such media contracts that dwarf ticket sales, and the NFL has revenue sharing that dwarfs all the other leagues. My best guess is lack of fans, overall revenues is going to be anywhere from 15 to 25% of total revenues. So if we're looking at a gross revenue situation for the NFL in a normal year of $15 billion, take that down 25%. Now you're talking about $12 billion. The players will feel that. Cap is set in 2020. This cap is set at $198.2 million per team. Player contracts are set. But you and I know there's no magic to that. Teams may look to go under this year because one of my criticisms of the CBA, there's not enough threshold minimum spending to keep teams accountable. They can spend less, and they're only judged over a 4-year period in terms of what they spend on players. So what I'm thinking is, we know the 2021 cap is going to be a problem because they're going to look back on revenues from 2020. I'm just thinking and sensing NFL owners are going to go to NFL players before 2020 and say, hey, we got a problem coming. Let's try to address it now so we don't have the specter of having a lesser cap in 2021 than we've had in 2020, something that's never happened in the history of sports.
Okay, so a lot of things are going to have to be adjusted here. So if the NFL and its GMs and owners go to the players before 2020 and say, hey, we have to readjust the 2021 contract right now because we think the salary cap's going to go down, but we also might not have the money to pay you. Let's push that to 2022 instead. Let's readjust this. That's going to be a lot of renegotiation for everybody's contracts that they're going to have to do. And I would assume that the veteran players are going to take the biggest hit for this, obviously.
Yeah, they are. And even in a normal year, teams are taking younger players on those rookie contracts that are fixed, that are reasonable, that are easy to swallow, and cutting older players. That happens before the pandemic, and it'll happen after the pandemic. But I think veterans are going to be squeezed even more this year and next year because, as I said, there are minimum salary requirements, but they're not strong. Accountability is low. So we may see teams, just offload veterans with non-guaranteed contracts to go light this year, know the cap is less next year, and we'll see all this happen. The reason I think it's going to happen before 2020 and not just wait till 2021, because the effect of perception on the union, on players saying, you're taking a cap lower in 2021 than 2020 is not a good one. So this idea is smoothing. That's the word we use. It's usually used when there's a big spike and they want to smooth it along the way. That's what happened with the NBA. But now you're using it on a decrease and you're saying, let's get ahead of this decrease. And I think 2020 will be effective.
That's so interesting to me. Can we talk about the debt limit being raised $150 million? Where is that coming from? Does the NFL have its own bank that you're allowed to go into? What is that money used for? And I didn't know that $350 million in debt money was available to every single NFL team. Now it's been raised to $500 million. What does that mean? What is it used for? And how do teams get that money?
The background is the NFL is the only major sports league that doesn't allow corporate ownership. You have corporate ownership all over other sports. You have private equity groups, you have hedge funds, you have all this corporate ownership, private equity in a lot in the NBA. NFL doesn't allow it because NFL has this kind of ancient tradition sitting around the table that I sat at for many years, even though I wasn't a billionaire. We didn't have an owner in Green Bay. So everybody's got a person, it's family owner, a lot of family ownership, having that one person that represents the team. This is the problem in Tennessee the past couple of years, finding that one person on the Titans ownership group and in Denver with the Broncos. So they haven't allowed that. So they have a debt limit because these aren't corporately owned teams. Their assets worth $2 billion, but their own profit, their own holdings, besides a top level of owners, really don't match that. So they've allowed teams to dip into this bank debt program they've had. Now, with future problems ahead, and trying to savor the cost of operations going forward, they're allowing teams to extend that debt limit, which they've never allowed previously. I think the big thing, Pat, is this a one-timer for this pandemic? Or are we going to continue to allow raised debt limits? Because listen, any business does not want all its principals being totally leveraged, and that's why they've had this limit. So they want people coming in with money. They got David Tepper to own the Carolina Panthers. He's a multi-billionaire. This is what they want. I think the big picture is down the road, they're going to have to allow corporate entities to own these $2 billion franchises.
So do they all have the same bank that they use? How are they transparent? Like, who's transparent with those numbers to say, yeah, you only took $350 million, you didn't take $400? Like, who are they? Just have access to your bank account? Is that how that works? Like, how's it monitored?
In some ways, there's this whole office inside 345 Park Avenue that people don't know about. It's called NFL Finance. And these are people dedicated to the financial pictures of all these franchises. And they're working with the teams on their debt. And usually it's not the owner directly. It's the owner's finance people, how their debt. When you come into the league, you have to prepare this book about where your money's coming from, how much you have, what's it going to, how leveraged are you. And yes, if you're applying to be an NFL owner, the first thing they're going to look at is what's your liquidity, because you don't have to dive into these huge debt limits. So you come in like Tepper, worth billions, Stan Kroenke's worth billions, all these owners that have massive resources.
The Rams are allegedly out of money, is what they're saying. I thought the debt limit was raised specifically for the Rams, who are building that $7 billion monstrosity in the middle of LA, which, by the way, it's going to be beautiful, but it was expected to be $2 billion. Now it's triple. What is that? It's 350% of what they thought it was going to be. I mean, that is quite a swipe. Let's talk about transparency a little bit more, though, because you mentioned the MLB talking about how the players are not going to be pumped up about this. And we always thought whenever we went into a CBA negotiation is we can never get a good guess on the revenue split because they don't have their books open. The Packers were the only team that opened their books, and they're publicly owned, so they kind of had to happen. Hey, were you there for that whenever the Packers opened up the books during the CBA?
I'll tell you, Pat, every year around June 15th, June 20th, I got a call from all the agents I was dealing with saying, hey, I know how to spend your profit. And I'm like, yeah, we got our own vision of how we're going to spend that. Yeah, we were the only team, and every year I was involved in preparing those books a little bit and showing what we did. And the NFLPA has latched onto the Packers saying, hey, look, this tiny little team in northern Wisconsin is putting out, in my day, 20, 30, 40 million profit. In today's day, 50, 60, 70 million profit.
Never mind.
Imagine what the New Yorks and Dallases and New Englands are doing, to which the NFL would say, oh, no, Green Bay's unique. They have a fan base that's international. They're unique. They're not like every other team. To which the NFLPA would say, naturally, okay, show us everyone else. And of course, the NFL says no.
Yeah,
There's do that.
Well, and now the MLB is starting to get into this problem, right? Because they're saying it's going to be a 50-50 revenue split. And Trevor Bauer came out and was like, well, how do we know if it's a 50-50 revenue split unless the MLB teams are allowing us to see the books? No professional sports team, aside from the Packers, has openly flaunted how much money they make. That's the last thing they want to do. How will the MLB get over that? If the NFL has to do this, if the salary cap has to go down, how will that all happen? I don't think I see that happening, to be honest with you.
I don't either. I covered both these negotiations and even was involved before that with the NFL. That request has always drawn a stalemate. Owners are never going to do it. We can all debate why, but owners aren't doing it in football and they're not doing it in baseball. The baseball thing is front and center right now, Pat. Here's what the problem is. Players thought, okay, you want an 81-game season instead of a 162-game season? We'll take half. If I'm supposed to make $5 million, I'll make $2.5 million. If I'm supposed to make $10 million, I'll make $5 million. Good, we're good. And owners have said, no. It's not that simple. We're not going to a straight prorated here. We're, like you said, we're doing a share of revenues. And you know what that means? That means the MLB, who has never, ever, ever been able to get what other leagues have, a salary cap, is using this pandemic to get what they couldn't get in bargaining.
Them scumbags!
Now, it's strategic. So we have a cap, and the players will get their share of the cap, and it probably won't come out to prorated half your salary. It definitely won't. It'll be less. But they know, besides those names you see out in the media, the silent majority of MLB players, and I say NFL players, and I say hockey, and I say basketball too, just want to play. They want to play. They want to play. So this is where owners have leverage once again. These are not CBA negotiations, but really, in fact, they are. They're doing a CBA based on the pandemic, and this is where owners can leverage players because of the short careers, because they want to play, and because a lot of them feel invincible to the disease.
Andrew, I don't know how much you can confirm this or not, but I saw somewhere where you were talking about the MLB players when they thought if they're making $10 million, $5 million, and just straight down 50-50. I read somewhere that if they do that, the MLB would actually lose more money doing that than not playing any games at all. Is that the situation with other sports leagues too?
Not that I know of. The MLB is disadvantaged here because of their media. Primary baseball media, as you know, is local. Primary NFL media and NBA media is national. So the problem with baseball is when you have all your revenues from media localized, you have this disparity. So I think what you referenced there is probably not New York, LA, but a lot of MLB teams are better off not playing than playing if they have to prorate salaries, because their income from media, they're not going to get ticket sales, and now they're going to get media, which is so much lower than the other teams because it's all localized. It's a problem. I think baseball will come to a deal, but I think it's going to extract a lot of pain from the players.
Okay, and I think the owners are saying that they're going to end up going in debt and losing the team and everything like that. It could be all PR spin for a negotiation to get it going. My question for you is, should baseball think about, since they're going to do a prorated salary and half a season, should they shorten the games too? Should we make them like 3-4 innings maybe? Let them take steroids too? Maybe make this thing a little bit more electric so we can up the national audience and get a better deal?
Yeah, I think we're going to see creativity throughout this, throughout the next 3 months. We're going to see maybe shorter baseball games, maybe defined over, what do they call it? Extra innings.
Yeah.
Maybe basketball is played sequentially in their biosphere locations. I've heard about baseball. Maybe it's Arizona, and maybe in the Phoenix Stadium they play triple headers every day.
Oh,
everything's up for grabs here. I don't think there is no normal here.
Your Business of Sports podcast is one that I listen to on a regular basis. Where can people find it?
Stitcher, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, wherever you hear it. The Michael Jordan thing was a revelation to me because, as you mentioned, I worked 6 years, started my career for David Falk, and just seeing the Michael that I saw the beginnings of back in the day when David was working with him, that's him. and that was a revelation to see because, you can call it harsh, you can call it intense, but Jordan was just like, hey, I'm just not going to take any crap from these guys. I want them to be like me, and I don't care what people think. And that was certainly revealed on the doc.
David Falk is the man he's referring to. His agent. He's guided Jordan's career to be worth billions and billions, which is where you got your start at a tennis agency. Now, executive vice president of Vayner Sports, former Packers vice president, ran a World League team. Andrew, hell of a run, hell of a career, and we can't thank you enough for stopping by to chat with us.
Always a pleasure, Pat. Look forward to being on soon, and I'll follow you. I thought I did.
It's unbelievable.
Do it right now.
Maybe it's the pandemic happening. Maybe. It's unbelievable. Andrew, I will stare you down. Ladies and gentlemen, Andrew. Thank you, Andrew.
Andrew!
He's good, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, not good on Twitter, but yeah, he's good.
He's not great on Twitter, but everywhere else he's very good. His Business of Sport podcast is one that you should listen to. Now, I'm not somebody that listens to a lot of serious things and stuff like that, but it's very fascinating to hear the ins and outs there. The thought of them having to prepare for the 2021 season, like, 2020 we might be good here, but 2021, obviously things are going to take a little bit of a hit. Having to renegotiate everybody's contract before then is going to be quite a nightmare for whoever the negotiators are for every team.
So if the season doesn't go off on time, this is like the only thing at this point that's going to hold it up, right?
The no fans thing?
Yeah, just because there's so much they need to do with this to like get it figured out.
You hear Blake Snell talking about he's going to get mine, though. And
risking his life.
Think about the NFL and the NFLPA. They just went into battle, right? That negotiation was not a clean one. It was not a smooth one. There was a lot of bad things being said from either side. A lot of people aren't happy. It was 51-49% vote or whatever. Like, it was very close. Now they're going to have to re-vote again. So now they're going to have to re-vote on what they agreed to. I mean, this is everybody loves the sports. Hey, love the sports. Hey, sports are fun. Hey, sports. Woo-hoo! But then it's the, the reality of it all that you kind of have to deal with on the back end, you see. And that can be a real pain in the ass. And that's what everybody's trying to deal with right now.
Is this going to change, like, we just brought up Mahomes' contract. Is this going to make Mahomes take, like, a 2-year deal instead of a 4 or 5 year deal?
Mahomes, by the way, probably going to get franchise tag. Like, he's probably not going to get re-upped until 2022 or whatever it is, because I think he's got one more year left on his deal. Then they can franchise tag him again. So that's not until 2022 that they can get going. I mean, so Patrick Mahomes, everybody talks about potentially signing a $200 million deal this offseason. Probably not going to be able to get re-upped for another 2 years. And I assume he will because he'll continue to be good at football. But it's like this pandemic obviously is affecting the sports world, but in real life, nobody gives a damn because there's 36 million people are right now unemployed. Nobody gives a single damn about any of it. So it's hard to find any sympathy for many humans when it's like, we just want you to play the football, please. Just play the football, okay? Whatever they offer you, just play the football. I would like to be able to do that. I'm currently unemployed, so get off our ass. And that all has to be balanced into it too. And the NFLPA has been very bad PR-wise. Always has been. I hope they won't always will be. This is something they should get out in front of and be like, hey, we understand this is happening in the world. These are our viewpoints on it. Instead of having Blake Snell go off on Twitch, which, by the way, I think he was echoing the sentiments of a lot of people. The NFLPA should get ahead of this right now. They should be out here speaking, especially if Andrew Brandt's already thinking. That means the NFL is already thinking about it. The NFLPA should be getting out in front of this. Hey, this is what our players are doing because of this. We're with everybody, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And instead, they're not going to do that. It's probably going to end up some bickering that happens. It's going to get public, and the players are going to look like a bunch of holes of the ass.
Yeah, so Mahomes is going into his 4th year, and then they already exercised the 5th year option. So normally they would do the extension probably after this upcoming season. But that's when he's saying that's the issue year.
Yeah, so then, and they can't give it to him because they won't be able to field 53 guys if they give him the deal he's supposed to, especially if there's no fans for what? How many games are we thinking? In some of those places. I assume in some places they're going to be able to have fans, by the way. This is just no knowledge of anything, have no idea. But it feels as if you look outside, there's places that are going to allow fans. I would assume for some of them they won't. So maybe it won't be as big of a drastic hit to the salary cap. We'll have to see, though. Because if it gets down $80 million down to 120 after 198, I mean, that's, good math. 118.
Close. I mean,
play cards every night. You got to
we'll ballpark it.
By the way, win at cards every night too. Sammy watching. She won the other day. It was a big moment. She starts rubbing it in my face or whatever. It's an anomaly at this point. That's just the way it goes.
It's nice.
It's not my fault.
You can't win every time.
No, I did though for a long time. She's the best. We're back on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show, Tuesday, May 19th. Dumbest show yet. Oh! Hey! The son of a bitch did it. The son of a bitch did it. There he is.
Let's go.
About time.
Hey, good little relationship we just started. I wonder if it was Gary V telling him not to follow me.
Probably. If I had to guess.
You think?
No, you've been on Gary's side the whole time.
Gary's my guy.
Yep.
I mean, you got the GV ones.
Gary's my guy, but did Gary tell him not to follow me? Hey, don't follow that guy on the internet.
I don't think we can rule it out.
Guy throws too many right hooks.
What's your fucking deal? Why are you coming after Gary like that? What's your deal? Let's go to Twig down there in North Carolina. What's going on, Twig?
What's up, Pat? How you doing, man? Love you.
Hey, love you too, man. Not too shabby. How are you doing, pal?
I'm doing great right now, man. I wanted to ask, this whole COVID-19 situation we got going on down there, does it help these less popular sports like NASCAR? And I don't want to say UFC is less popular, but some of these lesser-known cards have been electric. So I was just wondering what your thoughts are on that.
Appreciate that, Twig. Good question. Good call. COVID-19 isn't just down there, by the way. It's all around there. You know what I mean? I mean, it is all around there. I think it's a big deal for these sports. I mean, look back to my Aussie Rules football revelation. It was the only sport on there late night whenever sports had been stopped completely. March Madness had been moved. NBA had been stopped. MLB, everything was already moved. So, like, when Aussie Rules football came on, I was like, all right, here we go. They had no fans in the stands. I'm going to watch this. And I learned about a sport that I didn't previously know about. And by the way, fell in love with it. They're back June 10th in America, June 11th in Australia. Yeah, June 10th, go. AFL is back. I highly recommend watching. I watched one night, had a one-night stand with the Aussie Rules football, AFL, and I wish I would have impregnated it, so I stuck with it for 18 years. I absolutely loved it. They're back June 10th. UFC, I think a lot more people are watching it just because they wanted the taste of competition. Soccer, I assume there's more people betting and watching soccer in the Bundesliga than they've ever done before. Korean baseball had an opportunity to be covered on ESPN there for like a week and a half until everybody realized, okay, we can't do this anymore. The thought was we're going to do this all the way until it ends. I think you're 100% right, Twig. I think there's a lot of sports that have benefited from this in their ability to work. Now, granted, NASCAR with the iRacing, they got a little bit of a bump there because they're still being covered on Fox and everything like that, and IndyCar. But I think them actually getting back on the track and getting to hear was big for them. Now, granted, shout out no Kyle Larson's out there.
Right.
Which definitely helps the viewership.
Yeah.
But yeah, the only people that have really lost this quarantine, I think, was golf.
Yeah.
Big time.
Golf lost.
Yeah.
Because I was so excited to watch said 2-on-2 matchup, and I watched it and I was like, this stinks. But maybe this weekend, by the way, golf can be saved. Maybe this weekend on Turner with Brian Anderson running host and play-by-play, with Charles Barkley and a guy named Immelman on commentating alongside, and then Amanda Bolionis on the course, and Justin Thomas, the guy that kicked the fan out for saying something to him. They'll be on the course. Maybe there'll be more entertainment. Maybe there'll be a little bit more electricity with Charles Barkley there. I would assume if he shows up, it's going to be good. But they can do a lot for golf this weekend after what happened on Sunday, which was an absolute snooze fest. Why is it on my television? Get it the hell off.
They probably put JT on the course because knowing that there wasn't going to be fans, that he could actually then handle it. If there was fans involved, he wouldn't be on the course.
I forgot whenever I saw his name. Do we hate him? We don't like him?
I feel like we did, and then he might have done something to bring us back, but I can't remember. So we'll just err on the side of caution and say we're against Justin Thomas.
That's the side of caution?
Yeah.
I remember when he kicked the guy out, we hated him.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, hey, pal.
Relax.
Give it a rest. Come on. Don't be a rat out there. Okay? And then maybe he did do something that we liked, and then another guy we hated. I forget who it was. We have an interesting relationship with golf.
Yeah.
Very interesting
Well, I
relationship.
tried to take you down.
Tried the U.S. golf, tried to take me down.
What was the clip? Was the guy breaking
It was
his
Patrick Reed losing his mind, breaking his thing, and then coming back on the other side, hitting it again. Yeah. They tried to take down my entire company.
Yeah.
I said fair play, fair use, or whatever. Get the hell out of here. I like the golf. I'm a fan of the golf. Okay? Like what John Daly did for the sport, like what Tiger Woods did for the sport, that type of stuff. A lot of these guys are boring. The thing on Sunday, I like Dustin Johnson. I like Rory. I like Ricky. I've never heard of the Matthew Wolf guy. I guess I like him too. It was just a snooze fest.
Yeah.
And it's not their fault. They're competitive. They're dialed in. You just need extra factors in there to bring up the level of entertainment, and they didn't have it. No. Hopefully Sunday with Charles Barkley, it will have it. Fingers crossed. Please put on a good fucking show. I'd like to see the boys play good golf and bet a lot of money on them. Good morning, beautiful people. It is Tuesday, May 19th. We can't thank you enough for joining us. At Nick Moraldo is here. At Tone Diggs is here. At Ty Schmidt is here. Jason McAfee's here. Viva Lazito's here. Evan Foxy's here. And Ed is on the phones, 1-833-622-3331. You look absolutely incredible back there, pal.
I appreciate that, Pat. Ed is a very headstrong guy, so he is very thankful.
He is, what was that?
He's very thankful.
Can I get a headstrong? Can I get a headstrong? Can I get a headstrong?
Headstrong. Headstrong.
Take on anyone. Headstrong. Headstrong. Take on anyone. That had a run there.
Oh, yeah.
That had like a 1-2 year run back then. It was on a lot of highlight reels and everything like that. Who sang that? Was that Will Smith?
It was Trapped, I think.
Why would you even?
What's that?
Don't just try and shoehorn some shot into here.
He sang something with that.
Switch.
Switch.
Yeah, so good.
Now, you're confusing LL Cool J Headsprung with some trash song Will Smith.
We know Headsprung.
Will Smith got a banger out right now called Will with Joyner remix, I believe. And Will
Joyner
Smith.
Lucas.
Joyner Lukey?
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
I've seen it in tweets.
Yeah, he wrote it directly for me.
Who, Will did?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said, people call me corny, I never fall off or something like that. Yeah, he was talking to Nick. Get off my balls, Nick.
Yeah, not affecting him, huh?
That's what he said. He said, get off my balls.
Yeah, he's listening. He knows.
Tyler in Florida. Well, there's a bunch of haters, just like you're a hater of LeBron. We talked about this earlier.
Yeah.
Tyler in Florida, what's going on, bub?
Ooh.
What's going on, Tyler?
You there, Pat?
Hey, wakey, wakey, hands off Snakey. What do you want to talk about, pal?
What's going on, brother? So I got. Can you hear me? Right,
Yeah, you sound great. Sound good.
Oh, beautiful. I got some family who are kind of lower level personnel in the NBA. So
Here
I
we-
just want to, blow up their seat for a minute. So he got some word. He talked to somebody higher up in his team's organization, and they were starting to ask about like whether the lower level kind of hands-on personnel are comfortable going to work soon. And so it sounds like they don't have a for certain location yet, but it sounds like the playoffs are all but happening. They're really starting to make moves on some of the people who would just be down there doing it.
Thank you, Tyler. By the way, shout out to them, the lower level people that are the backbone of the NBA, being asked like, hey, if this was to happen, would you guys be okay with it? Shout out to the NBA, by the way, for even asking.
Yeah.
Don't have to, probably.
No.
Oh, if you don't want to do it, we'll find some stooge in Indianapolis that wants to come down here and wash some clothes. Zito, subbed in, NBA championship. He would go in there in a heartbeat, by the way. But it does feel as if this NBA thing is happening. And I said this as soon as LeBron came out and was favorable of it. I'm like, if LeBron's favorable of this thing, let's assume a lot of players are going to be in. And if LeBron's in, let's assume a lot of owners who are standing to make a lot of money from this, they are also in. If LeBron would have came out and been like, not doing it, I would assume everybody else would be like, all right, we're not doing it. But since he's been favorable, now his first thing he said was, I ain't playing in front of no fans. That's who I play for and all that stuff. Now we're in much different time. Now we're in 2 months of house arrest at this point. I assume everybody's getting antsy to get back out there. And that Lakers team was getting hot pre-quarantine. What have they done during the quarantine? They got a lot of money, so I assume a lot of guys have gyms there. A lot of teams that have younger teams that might not have as much money, they probably don't have gyms in their house. We saw Trey Young during that horse game on ESPN. He's kind of got a trash basketball set up. Yeah. That's going to be tough for the Atlanta Hawks to get in the battle. But I think the Lakers want to get going because they know how good that team is. They know that old Anthony Davis is potentially going to leave town after this year. I mean, there's a lot to talk about. And I think because LeBron's back in, who could have played for the Cowboys and been an All-Pro if he wanted to during the lockout, because he's back in, it feels as if the train is on the track to getting getting us a March Madness style tournament with the NBA.
Yeah, for sure. And the league sent out that text to all the players, and it was overwhelming. Yeah, we want to come back. And then it was on the bottom line this morning. Can't remember the owner, but the owner said he sees the NBA coming back this season. So if an owner is saying that,
the Houston Rockets owner.
That's what it was.
He came out and said that he thinks that this is happening. So he's probably getting fed some sort of information from somebody. He's not just. By the way, is this the same guy though that the Houston Rockets guy was the same guy that?
Wasn't it Daryl Morey, the GM, who's?
The GM. I'm sorry.
Well, still awfully close to the owner there. Well, I'm just saying we know what he did last time. Damn near brought the league to its knees. So I mean,
he did. They did say something about China in a relationship with Beijing. Nope. What's the Taiwan? Nope. Hong Kong. He said something about that. All of a sudden, the Houston Rockets, who are massive in China because of Yao Ming. Hey. Yao Ming. Wasn't happy over there when that happened. Then everything had to happen. Now the Houston Rockets owner's coming out like, hey, I got some inside information. We're coming back. We're playing. Mark Cuban likes to talk about all this stuff. How about me? Another NBA team in Texas. I'm going to talk about it. Never got an email back from said lady.
No, come on.
She fumbled.
I know. I'm going to have to push. I saw him he's leaving it open to potentially run for president here. So, hey, he's got some real interviews lined up, I guess.
Yeah, we were going to email her back.
Yeah, we were one of them.
We did get shoot off to said person who's supposed to handle said emails for said person that I emailed to.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, she's probably a little bit overwhelmed right now. Guy, I think, just said he's willing to run for president. I would assume there's a lot of opportunities to talk about it. I misquoted him. I said if I was him, I wouldn't come on the show because you're rewarding bad behavior. Can't do it. Okay, did you read my book? Can't do that. And then we got an email. We got an email conversation. Almost got onto the schedule. I'll have to push back a little bit more. Not my style, by the way, to act desperate to come on the show. Don't want to hit the follow-up email, but I will if I have to.
No, I mean, you've given it a week, and that's a normal time frame for a follow-up. Like, hey, I sent you the paperwork last week. You said you're going to move forward. What's going on?
There's people that do this to my email. They go, hey, just moving this back to the top of your email.
Oh, yeah.
That is completely accepted in business practice.
Is it? Those people get blocked from my email. There's a reason you were buried to the bottom, okay? I saw it. I read it. I got nothing to say about it. And then it gets bumped up to the top. It's like, hey, just wondering if you just want to move this top of the email. And I'm like, yep, delete. I'm deleting this again. And then once it gets to the third time, I'm like, all right, block account.
Yeah.
Have to do it.
Do you think you got stuck in the spam folder? Sometimes you send emails when you're out of the organization.
No. This was not. This was Mark asking said person.
Oh, this one? Yeah, because the spam would have had to go from Mark to said person then.
Okay.
Because I sent email to Shark Mark. Shark Mark. Yep. He answers, okay? He sends me to said person, hey, let's make this happen. Said person now?
Fumbled it.
But I'm scared to dribble it out. I'm afraid. But why am I afraid? Send an email.
Can you do one of those fake emails? Like, all right, let's confirm tomorrow at 3 p.m. Or obviously not 3 p.m.
See, that would be a Zito finesse, and that is what I'm going to do. Just want to make sure I have this right. Tomorrow, 11:30.
So now he's looking through the emails like, oh, my God, what did we miss?
Oh, my God.
Am I on?
Did we lock this in already? I don't know.
Basically, you're going to be Tim McGraw, and you're going to tape the football to his son's hand so he can't fumble it anymore.
See that? That's what I'm doing.
Smart.
That happened.
Don't fumble the ball.
Friday Night Lights.
Billingsley.
I never seen that.
Go to bed, Dad.
Never seen Friday.
He threw
Nights.
his ring out the door.
All I watch Varsity Blues, pal. That's it.
That makes sense.
Varsity Blues. Remember the Titans.
Tweeter.
Yeah, Tweeter's a good time.
Yep.
But anyways, the Houston Rockets owner says probably coming back.
Fertitta.
We would ask the owner that we could potentially have on the show, but we're currently lost in an email communication. Where's that at? Up in the clod?
Yeah.
Up in the clod somewhere.
Just bring it down.
Somewhere along the line.
What, he is running for president, though, isn't he? It sure sounds like
I'm voting.
He hasn't shied
I will
away from
register
it.
to vote.
2024.
Do you know any of his policies,
Don't
Diggs?
care.
Jeez. Vote responsibly, Diggs.
Responsibly, Tone.
Let's go to John in Washington, just because my thumb literally accidentally hit it. But John, Washington, D.C., can't wait to talk to somebody in the Capitol.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, John, I'll tell you what, just kind of hanging out over here, talking about sports, talking about a potential president who's going to move to your town.
Yeah.
What do you want to talk about?
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Oh, okay.
I'm calling to see if how do you feel about Drew McIntyre? It kind of feels like they're pushing him to too much of a babyface.
Okay, John, good question. Drew McIntyre, WWE, current champion of WWE right now. He will be known as the guy that was the champion during the quarantine era, which is a very difficult thing to do. They're pushing him to be a babyface because I think what happened when he won the title, he looked in the camera and thanked everybody. They said, "Ooh, that went over well. Let's do that all the time." And I think Drew McIntyre looks good. He sounds good. He's a good interview. He's probably a good face of the company at the moment. But right now, it's kind of tough to judge because ain't nobody watching. Yeah, I don't think anybody's watching. Drew McIntyre deserves, by the way, people to watch.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Friend of the show.
Hey, big, handsome son of a bitch, too. Scottish.
Psychopath.
No, Terminator.
No, we don't like psychopath.
Doesn't like the Scottish psychopath.
Hey, I'm not a psychopath.
That's one time.
Very calculated in my striking, so the Scottish psychopath doesn't really make sense.
And they took a sip out of his mug and he said, "Terminator's better," or whatever it was.
Handsome something, too.
Handsome son of a bitch. And he's got a 9-pack, too. I mean, he is.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, he's
It's pretty good.
pretty good.
As far as packs go.
WWE has not stopped.
No.
WWE is not stopped. A lot of people talk about how Dana White, how'd you get your fights back to go off and everything like that, which I agree completely is commendable because he was going to have Fight Island in the pit of fighting whenever this whole thing started. He was doing everything he possibly could because he's an entrepreneur and a promoter and has that necked-on mentality. Yeah. Always hungry, never full, got to fight like a shark through everything. So he was going to put on fights, and ESPN and Disney told him, "Nah, can't do it. Too dangerous," or whatever. So he had to come out and say, "I was ready to go. I had fights ready to go. I had fighters ready to go. I have an island that's going to be opening up here in a little bit, but my partners told me I couldn't do it." So then he gets a chance to put fights back on, and on that Saturday night opening round, it was awesome. I mean, there was massive knockouts. The preliminary or the undercard that was on ESPN for free was electric. The fights have been good, but WWE has not stopped. Not a single. And WWE probably has more contact than, by the way, obviously nowhere near as hard as contact, but you're talking about potential 8 people in the ring at one time all touching each other. They were coming in waves. Nobody's really talked about how WWE has been able to maintain physical contact, putting on a live show through this entire thing because it was either contract, they had to do it. Florida governor said they were an essential business. Everybody's talking about Dana White getting back out there, but I think once again, the WWE is in the conversation and nobody's even chatting about it. It's like, how the hell have they done it? I don't think anybody... I think they had somebody test for coronavirus. I'm not sure anybody passed away, though, or anything like that. I don't know how they've done it, but I would assume that UFC looked at what he was doing, Vince was doing. It was like, how are we doing it? How are we moving forward? Now that's opened doors for the MLB potentially and the NBA and everything like that. I think it should be talked about that the WWE was able to continue going live throughout this entire thing. Numbers haven't been great. WWE, by the way, another sport that's much better with fans, much like golf is, much like soccer is, much like I'd assume college football would be, but it's still been able to go on and produce shows. And I assume a lot of other people are looking at that as a blueprint. Like, okay, you're letting anytime to get in, they get tested, to go out, to get tested, to kind of keep everybody secluded from each other, sequestered. You can only come in certain waves. That's probably what everybody else is doing now.
Yeah, because they were the first ones, and I think they were commended on the big stage during WrestleMania. And then everyone saw that and was like, oh, okay, if they could do WrestleMania and have all these people come in and everything like that, and then I assume Dana saw that, and then everyone has moved on.
They had Gronk. They had Gronk jump off a platform. Vince McMahon's old ass jumped off the platform because Gronk was so scared. Huh. What's that?
It just, it just doesn't seem right that you make a 75-year-old man jump off a platform just to show you that you can.
No. By the way, I would assume Vince McMahon, he's what? Scared. Well, I'll go do it. By the way, Vince McMahon, hands-on with the product. One of the most underrated entertainment geniuses, conglomerates, moguls to ever exist. Yeah. And that's because his character, Mr. McMahon, is one of the most hateable, despicable human beings to ever get on television. And that's, I would assume that's how Vince wants it to be, too. Yeah. Hey, when you're a heel, all right? I want bottles thrown at me. I want knives pulled on me. And Vince McMahon was the ultimate heel there for a long, long time.
Still taking bumps at 75.
I think he's still working out like 2-3 times a day, too.
He looks great.
He headquarters, though, to negotiate a contract. His contract was up or whatever. And Vince was late or whatever for the meeting because he was down in the gym. And Vince comes walking out from the gym for his meeting, and he's just piped. You know what I mean? He's just absolutely shredded. And then they start the conversation or whatever, and then Vince looks at the camera and goes, all right, you've had enough. Get the hell out of here. We got to do business or whatever. It's just like, what a man. There's people that think he's potentially living forever. And I believe it. I do absolutely believe it. We're talking yoked. He's 70 plus at least. How old is he right now? How old is Vince McMahon right now? He's got to be 70 something.
His mother's still alive. She's like 99, something like that.
Us Irish.
74.
74 years old. So he was at least 71 at the time whenever that thing was shot, if it was in 17, and he was just piped out of his mind. That makes me feel good. I mean, I beat the hell out of my liver and everything inside of me whenever I was in college and when I was younger, so I'm probably never going to see that day. But if I do, I would like to be as yoked as Vince McMahon at 71, 74 years old.
Ideally.
He's got to come out with a McMahon diet. I mean, we need to get on what Vince is doing.
I don't know. You think Vince gives a single damn if anybody else is healthy?
No, probably not.
Fat Connor? Who's that? I met him one time. I shook his hand. It was like the first time I was there. I think it was WrestleMania Hall of Fame. It was probably Hall of Fame, I think.
Yeah, it was.
Foxy and I were invited to Hall of Fame to check out the behind-the-scenes stuff. They wanted me to like kind of see how everything was going. It was my first weekend there. And I get called over to talk to Mr. H. Mr. H and tells me he's seen me on Twitter. He's seen the comparisons of us looking alike and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, very nice to talk to you, whatever. And then Vince comes over and he walks by or whatever, and I can feel his aura or whatever. And they're like, Pat, have you met Vince? And I was like, no. I was like, Mr. McMahon, nice to meet you. He goes, you too. And then he just walked away.
Was he there in Buffalo when you called SmackDown?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we had real conversation. That was the first time we've ever had. Not really. So there wasn't real conversation. It was a one-way street. He was doing a lot of talking. We do a pre-show meeting in there, and that's where I walked in with my sleeveless hoodie and jorts on. And I was like, okay, this is where I'm potentially going to get kicked out and told to put on a suit. And I had a suit ready to go, by the way, if they told me not to. So I sit in there. He's kind of reading through the overlying points and everything like that. It was very interesting. Pretty intimidating, obviously, to be in that room. And I had heard about these meetings and stuff like that. Bruce Pritchard was in there. I think Mr. H was in there at the time. Stephanie, I think, was in there as well. It was like that, and then our group was in there, the announcers or commentators, whatever. They go through a show, and then they say, does anybody have a question or whatever? And he had literally said everything opposite of what Triple H just told me outside. So I had, 45 questions probably, but I just didn't raise a hand. I was like, I just looked around. I was like, no questions at all. He's like, all right, good luck out there or whatever, you know. He just got off on a 45-hour flight from Saudi Arabia at this time, had more energy than anybody else. I walk out of the room, and Mr. H goes, you good? I'm like, he literally just said the opposite of everything you said to me. He was like, you'll be fine, figure it out or whatever. And then he like walked with me back to the thing. He was like, here's this, here's what he was saying. I guess I just didn't fully understand it, but it was like one of those. And then after the show, he walks by me and he goes, actually good. I was like, awesome. Thanks, man. I was like, thank you so much. I had 4 pounds of makeup on my face at the time. It was kind of interesting to look at him with all the makeup and his sleeveless on. Like, thanks, man. He's actually good, with a smile and like a laugh and a point. And I was like, that's awesome. All right. I feel like we accomplished everything we had to. Let's get on a plane and get to College Game Day now in Memphis, Tennessee. That was a wild run there. That was a wild run. And Jim Irsay's plane.
Yeah.
Whole fall was.
Insane run.
Insane. Like, what are we going to do this fall? Who knows? We literally have no clue what we're going to do this fall. I mean, nobody knows what's going to happen this fall. Sports are, who knows? They're a big question mark at this point. But I have no idea. Am I going to be on ESPN? No idea. Am I going to be strictly YouTube operation? Maybe. Are we going to be going on tour? Possibly. Am I going to be with the WWE? Maybe. Literally no clue. I have no idea what's going to happen 3 months from now, not only with our show, with me, with sports. And that's why, hey, this is that Zen Buddhism stuff. You just got to live in the moment.
Yeah.
Hey, you just got to live in the moment, Michael Jordan said.
I was just thinking, and I know you don't know this, but like, does Game Day do College Game Day if there's no fans at Game Day?
I would assume not, right? I don't know.
I would assume not too.
Well, they did it out
at a studio show
at the SEC Championship.
It's not the same.
No, there's fans at the SEC Championship in Arizona though.
National Championship.
Yeah. Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah, the Final Four.
Yeah, semifinals or whatever.
Yeah.
The playoff. There was no fans there. It was just a studio show from all over the field, basically. So I assume maybe they'll do something like that of that nature. Which, by the way, I would completely understand if they didn't bring me back for. Like, hey, the jorts wearing stooge is here for the crowd, right? We don't have a crowd, so let's maybe move on. It's going to be a fun run. 18 minutes after the hour. We got Trey Turner joining us later this hour, 5-time Pro Bowler from the Panthers, now of the Chargers, which traded to play offensive line for the Los Angeles Chargers. Is he playing? Is he playing in line for Tyrod Taylor or Justin Herbert? Oh my God, what was it like to block for Cam Newton and McCaffrey?
Smart.
Oh, Carolina Panthers. What do you see from? Did you talk to Matt Rule before he traded you? What do you say? What do you say? What was it like being traded in the middle of a pandemic? Wow, I want to hear all the information.
Good questions.
I mean, we got 10 minutes with the guy. What do you say in those questions? Like, what answer could he possibly get that is worth a single damn from any of those questions? We will find out. We will find out. I'm going to go to the bathroom. We'll answer some YouTube questions. We'll be back on the other side. This is Tuesday, May 19th, The Pat McAfee Show.
Let's get it. Let's go. Dream house is a tour bus. Scream loud that you knew us. Deep down, I'm the new plug. You ain't about to get too dust. Pete's frown when they crew scrubs. Sweet sound from the two subs. Beats loud as a move, bruh. Leave the crowd like, ooh, what? Long hair on the big thigh. 210s, both sitting shoddy. Cracking fits, start getting rowdy. Blowing nose, looking like an Audi. It's Uncle Sam without the taxes. Crowd stands up, I keep them loud. I made this beat, you hear it smacking? Who is 30? Hand me a nap. You probably wasn't expecting this. What expected this? God damn it!
Like the way it sounds, Frody?
Ladies and gentlemen, he asked for the beat to remain on so he could rap this a rapping from Zito.
You already know who it is.
Yeah!
Hell yeah!
Tell him. Oh.
Ray J in the house, y'all.
Yeah.
Everyone needs a great pair of wireless earbuds, am I right?
Yeah!
And you already know Racon earbuds start about half the price and any other premium wireless earbuds on the market. And they sound just as amazing as the other top audio brands you know. The newest model, the everyday E25 earbuds. All the best ones yet. With 6 hours of playtime. Seamless Bluetooth pairing. More bass. And a more compact design that gives you a nice noise
isolating.
Raycon wireless earbuds are so comfortable, they're perfect for conference calls, video chats, and binging podcasts, y'all. And y'all. I'm gonna call some action, y'all. You go ahead, get 15% off your order at buyraycon.com/Pat. That's buyraycon.com/Pat for 15% off Raycon wireless earbuds. Buyraycon.com/Pat right now.
Zito boy.
That felt good.
Hey, you absolutely crushed it.
I hope
man.
Ray J likes it.
Oh, Ray J might try to sign you to the Raycon label.
What?
Pay you half the price, same quality though.
You gotta do things to get on that label.
Whoa, what does that mean?
He's gonna hear that.
It's a kid's show.
E25, it's not a kid's show. Speaking of, I hate kids. Wyatt, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going, Pat?
You know, it sounds like you went through puberty here since the last time you talked to us. A little bit more bass in that voice, like the bass in the E25 earbuds from Raycon. What's up with you,
Oh,
Wyatt?
yeah, Raycon, #1 earbuds.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Boy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you up to, Wyatt? The song's over.
No, I want to ask you, so Lamar Jackson last year had 3,107 yards passing, and, I mean, he was really good last year. He won MVP. I think he's going to fall off, though, because, I mean, NFL, the defenses, they weren't ready for Lamar. I think they've had time to prepare for him, and I want to see who you guys think is going to fall off this year as a quarterback.
You know, Wyatt, you're only 14. We don't need this type of negativity from you already. We're not looking for who's going to fall off. Wyatt, you should be like, hey, who's going to take off next year?
Wyatt.
Who's going to take off
Tear him
next year,
down.
Wyatt? Wyatt doesn't need to be this negative. He's too damn young to have that hate in his heart already. Who's going to fall off? Who's going to take off? How about this? Kyler Murray's going to take off next year. Kyler Murray going into his second year. His first year last year, I don't even think he knew what an offense was. I think he was just an athlete making plays. There towards the end, they were giving people problems. Not 100% sure he's even studying film. Now he's going to take off next year. He's going to be a big-time baller. How about another one? Josh Allen. He's about to take off up there in Buffalo. Last year was just a little taste of what Josh Allen can do. Yeah, he's tall. Yeah, he's got big hands. Shadow part of my take for getting him drafted to the Bills. But next year, he's going to be smarter. He's going to be more intelligent. He's going to be higher IQ. How many ways can you say intelligent? He's going to be a guy that is going to up his game just like he did last year. I'm tired of Wyatt thinking people are going to fail. Let's talk about the people that are going to succeed. Wyatt, you 14-year-old pessimist. That can't be happening.
Kids these days.
That's what Nick wants him to do. Nick wants him to be a bully. Nick wants him to
He's
see
got to be a
people.
realist. You got to realize
No.
it's going to be very hard for Lamar Jackson to maintain that level of play.
I understand that, but 14-year-old Wyatt, you should be worried about how good Lamar's going to be next year.
Time to grow up, Wyatt.
No,
Good on you.
No, it is not.
Gonna learn someday.
No. Wyatt has not been disappointed by enough people to be the outlook that he currently has.
Foxy, you pipe down back there.
Well,
I mean, I've been watching the Detroit Lions every single year for my entire life, and I still think they're going to go 10-6 and win a playoff game next year. That's the positivity that Wyatt needs.
Hear that? He's coming after a guy who had a broken freaking back last
Exactly.
year. Wyatt over here in Wisconsin's calling every radio show he can get on, and now he's starting to turn negative. Don't do that, Wyatt. Not on this show. Or maybe the other shows you call in with your negativity. Not here. But I think it is going to be tough for Lamar Jackson to have the same type of year.
It's gonna be. I was gonna say maybe the Lions fall off, but it's tough to fall off of a floor. So like that's. I mean.
Oh, jeez.
Maybe Tannehill falls off.
Tannehill is probably not going to have the same year he had last year.
Tear him down.
I don't want to tear down Tannehill. He just got $100 million, okay? And he was chose over Tom Brady by Tom Brady's friend, who they have beers together at the Kentucky Derby, who's now the coach of Rabel, who's, I guess, just a legend of a man. I think everything he has done has proven he's a legend of a man. They went with Tannehill to hopefully keep igniting what they started last year, which was a great run. Now, they had, 28 free agents?
Something like that.
28 free agents. They franchise tag Derrick Henry. They lose an offensive lineman. They get Tannehill back. On the defense side of the ball, not sure what they're going to do. But Tannehill, is this the new Tannehill? That is a question that has to be asked. Is this the Tannehill? Because we saw a different Tannehill in Miami. Was that because Tannehill was not in the proper setup, the proper system, didn't have Derrick Henry, the 6'8", 700-pound, 4'4" running back right behind him? Possibly. Is Tannehill going to be what he was last year for the rest of his life? Not 100% sure. Is Lamar Jackson going to have to slow down at some point? I assume. Will that be this year? Not sure. Still hate the fact that 14-year-old kid is looking for people to fail, not succeed. Get it together.
If Tannehill falls off, then doesn't fall off, we could just blame it on Adam Gase. Probably we blame everything on Adam Gase.
Well, if he plays good, this is not. It's not going to be good for Adam Gase. But by the way, Adam Gase, what if Sam Darnold takes off next year? Ooh. So then Adam Gase is all of a sudden a hero. I mean, that could happen. Now, granted, he still has to face Belichick's defense and McDermott's defense and the B-Flow's defense that just signed Van Noy. The AFC East is not going to be an easy task for any quarterback. I mean, it's not like the murderer's row the defenses in the NFC South have, but the AFC East is going against some real stud defenses. Will Sam Darnold be able to get going? And will Lev Bell be back to the form that he was before he was a rapper in Miami on yachts? I'm not 100% sure if that's the case.
Is Justin Herbert going to play at all this year?
Yeah, is Herbert going to play? Or is that Tyrod Taylor's team? Is Herbert just going to learn about it? I mean, there are so many questions. We know that games are going to happen now. Mm-hmm. Because the two states that we really thought had a problem was California and New York. Their governors have come out and said, hey, listen, did we flatten the curve? We have no idea. Nobody knows what numbers are real anymore. But sounds like everybody else is doing it, so we'll open up our stadiums for professional sports too. We don't want to be left out. We don't want our by the way, I would assume not only did the Rams, Chargers, and Niners have a word with the governor about the NFL, I would assume those colleges in the Pac-12 in general had quite a strongly written email to the governor of California saying, hey, pal, we're going to get kicked out of the Power 5. We're going to no longer be in colleges. Our teams haven't been relevant in a long time. Now you're not even going to let us play against some teams. This has to happen. Mike Bone, who formerly of Cincinnati, now the USC AD, friend of ours, I assume he wrote quite an email asking to speak to the manager at the governor's house. I would assume that there was a lot of people in there in California who said, okay, this is what we'll do. We'll be able to do it here. Now, granted, I don't know how many cases California has. I have no idea what it's like. I don't know if it's in comparison to what's happening in New York or in Texas. I'm not sure where it's at, but New York has come out and said, hey, professional sports can live here too. So that's Buffalo too. That's not just in New York City. That is only Buffalo, by the way, because the Jets and Giants are in New Jersey.
Yeah. As for NFL, but that's Yankees and Mets too if they want to do the MLB season.
Bingo, because they have to basically, because the local stations, I'd assume, said, hey, Cuomo, listen.
Is it the Yes Network or?
Yes is, and then SNY is.
So now New Jersey has to come out and say it for the Jets and the Giants, right? And then Massachusetts, who's also got quite a right in the kisser from the coronavirus, they're going to have to come out as well. I mean, there's still some work to be done, but we're moving in the proper direction.
Feels good.
Feels good. It's about time. Does feel good, doesn't it? I mean, the weather is ass here in Indianapolis. We're talking about flooding happening. I got raccoons and foxes and chipmunks and squirrels and you name it living at the house. They're all fleeing for the ark because of how much flooding. They're looking for Noah's ass right now because of all the water out there.
They treat your house like Noah's Ark?
Yeah, they're all moving into my chimney.
There's an elephant in there.
Listen, live in a big house, I thought. It'd be fun, I thought. But it's those little parts of the house that you don't pay attention to. I don't know, for 5-6 years you've never been in. That really can be quite a problem. For instance, when there's a hole in a chimney, it doesn't even act as a chimney. It's just a false chimney, I guess, that they built on there to make themselves feel better. And then the squirrels and the raccoons and probably the chipmunks, and I'd assume even the foxes are living in there now. It sounds like get into that hole. They're just running roughshod all over my house. Am I losing the insulation up there? How can they just eat that? Are they not going to get asbestos in there? I mean, what are these animals doing in my house? I know what they're doing at night, and that's reproducing. Because that raccoon, just getting it every night right above my head. I don't know how many of them are going on, but there is an orgy happening. An Earl Thomas-like party is happening on my ceiling underneath the roof.
Think about smoking them hot.
women and children. We got to get to a break. Man.
Hold on, brother.
It's women.
There's women and children in here.
That's worth a watch, by the way, if you haven't watched it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Waco is worth a watch. Did not know it turned out the way it did.
No, had no idea.
No idea.
Things went
Can't teach
south
you that in
pretty
school.
quickly.
By the way, won't smoke out the raccoons I got living in my house because of Waco. And those were humans.
Yeah, I would imagine it'd be a little bit tougher for you to get your hands on some CS gas, though.
The FBI found it.
Yeah, military-grade CS gas.
And I don't want that pumping into my house
No,
anyways.
no.
Again, women and children.
We got to get to a break. This is the dumbest show of all time. Why are you listening? Because you got nothing else to do. Neither do we. Trey Turner's on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show. Every once in a while, we like to dive deep into the annals of the internet, the most beautiful place on the internet, the YouTube comment section, for some YouTube questions.
YouTube question.
What do we got, Rappin' Z?
All right, T-All. It's his birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Who would you like to see in a Last Dance stock on? Kobe, Tom Brady, or LeBron?
Okay, so Tom Brady, we saw Tom versus time a little bit, so we got a little glimpse of inside. LeBron's story is not done yet. So the answer is Kobe. Would love to see the behind-the-scenes footage that he has, because we've already seen some already leak out with him and G playing in the office, thing like that. I assume they filmed a lot. It feels like that's potentially something. That is going to be awesome to watch, because not only is it going to be a reminder of the Mamba mentality, but you're going to get a chance to look at greatness again. And not only just greatness on the basketball court, by the way. We're talking about business, media. The guy has a damn what? Oscar at this point. I would assume that the Kobe Bryant one is going to happen next. And I would assume it's going to be awesome. Now, granted, they got a Bruce Lee water one come Be Like Water, which is going to be awesome. But I think when it comes to like a 10-part doc with behind-the-scenes footage of some people that we've never seen before, I think Kobe is the next one that I'm looking forward to.
As of late, they've had a lot of his like high school clips come out too that are just awesome, and I can't imagine how much footage they have from that time.
The interviews that he had too, because he had ESPN in his high school with him at one point because he came fresh out. I mean, there's going to be footage that we had never seen before, and the stories are going to be electric.
It'll be sweet too to see how him and Shaq kind of interacted more on an intimate
Yeah, there we go. And
Phil's back.
Phil
Jackson.
too.
Hey, if there's one X factor for a good 10-part doc, it's fucking Phil Jackson.
In sports and like locker rooms and stuff like that, is there always a camera on?
No.
So like for this Michael Jordan thing, like
I was very intrigued on how that all happened, because I mean, they seem to follow him around everywhere, and maybe it was only at certain times they would come in, but that had to be negotiated with Jerry Krause, I would assume, and the owner, and Phil. Everybody had to be in on it, but
because even like the Dennis Rodman, like running like out of practice, like when trying to get around the media, like filming that stuff, like I feel like
well, you got to remember when media sessions are live, there's cameras everywhere
Yeah.
that catch like the tail ends of things, but they're not allowed to put them out. So
well, that's what I'm saying. But like they had like the behind the scenes of him hiding from the media, so like that couldn't have been a media.
yeah, and the media person was talking to a camera about how they were hiding from other cameras and seeing out. So everybody in the organization had to be in on it. I guess they kind of realized that they had something special, maybe, and they're like, all right, let's document this. Which, by the way, very forward thinking.
Well, when they were fleeing, that was the Last Dance season, so they definitely had a crew. He hired a crew for that entire season.
What about Space Jam?
The rest
though?
of the years, is just cameras being around.
Do you think more athletes are going to start filming themselves?
Those
like
were
this?
paid. Those were paid.
Had to have been.
Those were paid to be around. I would assume.
To try to reenact this? You think more athletes are going to try to do this?
Yeah, but it's weird. We try to do it. It's weird, isn't it, Foxy?
Yeah, it is weird. I mean, you just never know what to film. You can't film everything, and sometimes the best things we film are just kind of an accident.
Yeah, so you never know what you can film. You have to film everything if you're planning on catching it. But then you walk into places, there's people that are weird about. I mean, it's just.
I would argue we have way more than enough already, and we're only like 2-3 years into this.
And by the way, have missed a lot of very important conversations.
Exactly. That's why it's so weird.
Yeah, it's insane. I don't know. I'm looking forward to the Kobe one though for sure. Great question by that man from the YouTube questions.
YouTube questions.
Dun, 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 dun. Good snap, Sticks.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Nunchucks did not deserve that. But the Bird Dogs nunchucks are tried and true.
They held up. They held up.
When it comes to handling business, shout out to Bird Dogs and the nunchucks that come for free. Whenever you go to birddogs.com and use McAfee 25.
Oh, yeah.
Or McAfee.
Or McAfee 15
Talk.
or Sports Talk.
One of the three should be covered.
We'll be joined by Trey Turner at some point, maybe in the next couple minutes. All Terrain Zeke is trying to call him, currently in the back room, to no success. Is that right, Zito? Can't get a hold of the guy.
As of right now, we called 2 times.
What did he hit the FU button, or was it
it's
like
dialing? So I think usually what happens is like if you have what do you call it, the do not disturb on, you call 3 times, you get through. So I'm trying the 3rd time.
All right, hey, good luck in there, Zeke.
Good luck, Zeke.
We'll take a phone call from a Jimmy Diner in Atlanta, Georgia. What's going on, James?
Oh, nothing much, man. Just hanging out. How you going? How's everybody and the boys doing?
Yeah, we're pretty good. Pretty good song coming out of the break there by Nick. Really got all the boys up. We're expected to talk to Trey Turner here in a little bit. We might have the wrong phone number to Zito. He's calling a different number now. But what do you want to talk about, brother?
He's in the bathroom. He asked for 2 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
2 minutes. We're gonna have no minutes. We're gonna have no minutes.
You got to go number 2. You got to go number 2, I guess.
You got to do what you got to do, by DD. I mean, jeez.
So I got 2 minutes, right?
No, Jimmy. Who do you think you are? Jimmy, we're sick of it, Jim.
But what I want to talk about was I'm a huge Eagles fan. They drafted Jalen Hurts in the 56th overall pick this year.
Mm-hmm.
What are the chances of him being used a lot more, them kind of changing the game with 2 quarterback system?
Well, we have a friend who's a diehard Eagles fan. He said that right now the Eagles are a quarterback factory.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They created Nick Foles. Nick Foles goes and gets money. Now they bring in Jalen Hurts. He's going to be a part of the – because if you have 2 quarterbacks, it's better than having 1 quarterback, especially on the field at the same damn time. Mm-hmm. And I would think Taysom Hill is potentially a reason why the Philadelphia Eagles want to bring in Jalen Hurts. Can he be a utility player alongside being a backup quarterback, or are they just waiting for Carson Wentz to potentially get injured because that team was very injured last year? Carson Wentz has been hurt in the past, and they just want a guy that can handle the offense? We don't know because Doug Peterson ain't saying a damn thing to anybody.
And our Eagles friend said that they just run two quarterback system, 2 quarterbacks in the backfield at all times, guaranteed Super Bowl.
Yeah, you can run an option with each other. Okay, because then not only are you running the RPO right, you're running the RPO left as well because they're a split backfield. Who's getting a snap, by the way? Kelsey, who's a great center. Is he snapping it right or is he snapping it left? What are you doing? You got them both standing back there, potentially in a running back stance. What are they going to do? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Jalen Hurts going to get it? Maybe. Is Carson Wentz going to get it and then do an inside draw to Jalen Hurts going the opposite direction? Maybe. Nobody knows. Doug Peterson's over there with a beautiful mind on dry erase board saying we could do all these things because we got 2 quarterbacks instead of just one stupid quarterback like everybody else.
No defense for it.
No defense.
How do you defend that?
Can't. Taysom Hill proved it. What are you throwing? 7? He's throwing 7 completions.
Yeah, 7. Yeah.
Look for Jalen Hurts potentially to do the same thing. A man that was on the move a couple months ago. He is now a member of the Los Angeles Chargers. 5-time Pro Bowler, formerly of the Carolina Panthers. Ladies and gentlemen, Trey Turner.
Hey, boy, Trey!
Good morning. What's going on?
Trey, did you have to go to the bathroom there? That's why you needed 2 minutes?
Yeah. I needed a couple minutes for that.
Are you in Los Angeles right now? Have you completed the move over to be a Charger full time now?
Yeah, I'm in Cali. I'm in Orange County, so it's kind of early over here, man.
All right, well, I appreciate you waking up with us. A great conversation to be had here. Trey, you were a 5-time Pro Bowler. Not normally does a 5-time Pro Bowler get traded, especially coming off of a Pro Bowl. Matt Rule has come in, kind of a new offensive philosophy, kind of a new scheme. Did you talk to him before you were traded, and how did those conversations go? Did you sense that you were potentially on the block?
It was short conversations, everything positive from, the first time I had a conversation with him when he got hired to, when I got traded. Nothing too much in detail. Didn't know too much about the new personnel going on. Didn't know too much about the new coaches coming in. And, it's crazy times in the world, man. So I think that same thing relates to the NFL at this point in time. So, a lot of changeover right now.
Okay, so Tyrod Taylor is currently the starting quarterback over there in everybody's eyes. Tom Telesco's come out and said that on this show. Anthony Lynn has said that. Justin Herbert obviously was drafted over there, great athlete. Nobody knows what's going to happen. You were blocking, obviously, whenever Cam Newton was at his prime. I mean, Cam Newton was the MVP. You guys made it to the Super Bowl. What was it like being an offensive lineman for Cam Newton? And do you see Cam Newton getting back in the league and being a starter since he's healthy?
Man, Cam Newton a straight dog, man. He's just a competitor. You know what I'm saying? You can't measure his heart, and you can't compare too many people to him, if any. I don't know what the situation is going to lead for him, but I know he's going to fall on his feet. I'm just excited to see where he's going to go, man. It's going to be interesting, man, because, a guy like that who's been tested and kind of got his back against the wall, if you will, say, with other people right now, man. I know he's going to come out guns blazing, so wherever he ends up, I'm excited for him.
It does feel like revenge body is coming out. You know what I mean? It feels like there's a revenge body coming out of this whole thing.
Yeah, man. He's a warrior, man. And, I think it's just being seen at this point in time. A lot of the things that go on are behind the scenes and you don't really get to see it. I mean, you know what it is.
Yep.
So I think it's just on the forefront at this point in time.
A lot of people will say like he won't fit at certain places because of his personality or his charisma or whatever. In the locker room, is there any drawbacks to Cam Newton being in the locker room?
No, he's definitely a great teammate. I mean, he's a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? So that's more so your focal point of the team. So you can't not be that kind of guy in the locker room and stories get out about you, man. Everything is leaked these days. So he's a great teammate, man, a great person, man, and like I said, man, is a great competitor, somebody that's gonna get you ready to go.
Let's talk about your future out there with the Chargers. A lot of people have said one of their problems is they haven't had a great offensive line. Tom Telesco brings in a 5-time Pro Bowler. He's like, hey, let's solidify this thing. Let's get this going. What have your conversations been with Anthony Lynn, with Tom Telesco, and what the future of the Chargers are going to be, aside from incredible uniforms?
Yeah, man. Uniform, super dope, right?
Yeah, super. Yeah. And by the way, they look like they have a color scheme that even big guys are going to look fit.
Hey, man, I can't wait, man. That's up for sure.
What were the
But Coach Lynn, man, he's a great coach, man. He's been done it, been able to put his hand in the dirt and take the licks and he knows what it feels like. He's just somebody that has just come to me and told me, man, he's gonna put it on our back. As the offensive line, I feel like we the engine of the team. We get everybody going, we get the offense going, and we get the defense something to chill for. So the offensive line, we just got to come together, man. We got some great pieces, some new additions, and it just roll.
Trey, I see the hat says Diet Starts Monday. We're big Diet Starts Monday guys over here.
Big Diet Starts Monday guys.
Are you going to be one of the linemen when your career's over that lose a bunch of weight, or just is this the body that you want for the rest of your life?
Nah, man. I think I gotta go to Marshall Yonder route. I just read his article.
Hey, he was on our show. He showed up on our show like this FaceTime here because I don't see, before you get on the screen in the studio, I don't see the people because Zito does the call. And Yonda popped up on there. I thought I was getting trolled. He looked smaller, younger than anybody on earth. And a lot of offensive linemen can do that. Do you force like weight onto your body? I feel like that's something that a lot of offensive linemen have to do.
You definitely have to keep it up, man. The older you get in your career, I mean, like I said, man, you've been there, you've done it. Your diet starts to change a little bit. Your regimen starts to change. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to stay healthy as long as you can. And naturally, when you do that, healthier causes you to, burn more and lose more. So it is somewhat of a, I wouldn't call it a struggle, but you have to maintain your calories and keep it up. Because let me see it.
What are we on?
We in third down right now. Come on, we third down. It's 37, bro, and it's the last play of the game, man. We gotta get a first down, touchdown, to kick a field goal.
Who am I going against? Who's the end?
Ooh, we're gonna go Melvin Ingram.
Oh, great. Okay, just great. What are we on? We on 1 or 2? What are we on?
We on 2.
Okay, go ahead and give the cadence. Go ahead, Trey.
Oh, me give it.
Yeah.
Blue 80 say hut. Blue 80 say hut.
They ain't getting me, Trey. They ain't getting me. Hey, Trey, in that moment right there, 3rd and 7, game on the line, have you studied enough film that you know what Melvin Ingram's going to do? Like, is that a big part of it, that you have to kind of figure out what the chess move is going to be by the defensive end? Because I've listened to Dwight Freeney and Robert Mathis talk about how they're setting up offensive linemen basically all game to get to a move. Is it a constant chess battle in there in the mind?
Definitely. But if it's 3rd and 7, if we get a first down and kick a field goal to win this game, man, they going to their best move. And if it's Melvin Ingram, I'm betting spin move for sure. Who's
somebody that you've had more trouble with than you expected?
Probably my guy Grady Jarrett. Small, quick, just flipping hips, getting inside of you and trying to work back outside to the gaps. Man, he just a real shifty player, man. It's some small defensive linemen that being a 6'5", 350-pound person position at 6'1", 280. So it's different.
Golly.
That's what Yonda said, too. He'd rather go against the bigger
lanky
guys.
guy. He wants the lanky guy because he can get good leverage on him. The little guys, it's kind of hard to get in there.
Definitely.
How hard will it be to learn a new offense?
It's different. It's different, especially with the circumstances that we're facing right now. But it's cool, man. I take everything in stride, man. This is what they pay me to do. So, man, I'm in it. I'm going to pick it up.
Hey, Trey, go dominate out there. I can't wait to watch the Chargers. I can't wait to watch you. And I hopefully have you back on the show. You were excellent.
No, definitely, man. I appreciate it, Pat.
Hey, go Tigers. Ladies and gentlemen, Trey Turner. Let's go.
Yeah, Trey.
Woo! Oh, man. Hey, the offensive linemen they're playing like 6 games at one time. The offensive linemen do not get enough credit, I think. Aside from punters and kickers who get no credit, offensive linemen get no credit as well, and they deserve basically all of it. What Anthony Lynn told him, like, hey, it's on your back, that's basically how every team is. Like, hey, offensive linemen, we might not have invested any money or draft picks in this. Just want to let you know, we go as you go this week. It's like, could have thought about that maybe in free agency or in the draft, but it's not easy to move people. And then if you let up one time a game, you're kind of cut.
And having to know like the different moves they're going to come at you with, like for different quarters and like different downs and everything, like that's crazy.
Let him through one time. And
by the way, Melvin Ingram, I stuffed him on that.
Yeah, I know.
I was ready for that spin move because I had a good low base and I had a good Anything we missed today, Nick, that we should have talked about here in the last minute and a half? Because this is a live show and we should cover things, and people should leave this show saying, you know what? I feel like I was informed on everything that I need to be informed about.
Tom Brady took a few of his Bucs teammates out for a 2-hour workout this morning.
Boo!
at a local prep school in Tampa.
I had to do it at a local prep school because it's a private school. Can't work out in public because the mall cops are getting on his ass. Now starts the chemistry building, camaraderie building for the Buccaneers. This is massive, not only for every team, but it feels like this is Tom Brady's big thing. Whenever he got whenever he signed with Tampa Bay Buccaneers, said, all I want is everybody's phone number so I can meet them. We'll do these Zoom calls. We'll do the FaceTime. We'll do the Microsoft Teams. And then whenever we get a chance to work, we'll go to work. They're doing it at a prep school. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are about to be a buzzsaw down there in the NFC South.
LeBron James is producing a Netflix movie starring Adam Sandler called Hustle.
Oh.
Yes!
It's going to be good.
Yeah, Adam Sandler. Yeah.
If Adam Sandler's in it, it's going to be good.
Sandler's going to play an American basketball scout who was fired from the NBA but attempts to come back when he finds a talented player abroad.
Is LeBron a talented player?
Didn't say.
Okay, maybe it's Taco Fall, by the way.
Oh.
Maybe Tacos is...
That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome. That'd be a good idea, too, because everybody loves Taco. I mean, he's a buzz generator wherever he goes.
Something to think about.
Or maybe I'm the foreign player from Germany who's got a sick shot, dude. Sick shot. Sandler comes in. I'm like, 9! It's going to be a good show. LeBron, by the way, super executive producer. He's got like 45 shows that are on television, making movies now. He's got Uninterrupted. That's what LeBron James does. He's not. He said he doesn't care if he's the greatest player of all time, greatest teammate of all time. Brian Windhorst said that.
Yep. Yeah.
That's your guy, Windhorst.
My guy.
Your guy.
Your guy.
He's good at make believe.
I'm not a Brian Windhorst guy.
Ty, you love Windhorst.
Don't go there.
We're back, McAfee and Hawk, in 1 hour right here, youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. We can't thank you enough for listening and watching wherever you may be. Have a great day.